Welcome to the Pulpit View podcast. My name is Stephen Garrett. With over 20 years of experience in leadership, family, and ministry, I've invited some brothers to join me for a conversation about what it takes to bring balance to each. Why don't you join me on this journey? Let's go. Hey everyone, I'm excited. Listen, today's episode of the Pulpit View is one that is, I think, relevant for our time. I am right now at a disclosed location. My wife has whisked me away for something that I asked for my birthday. Last week was my 38th birthday. And on my 38th birthday, I had the privilege of celebrating a lot of wonderful events in my life. That was the first day that I ever opened up my barbershop. It was 2002 in Detroit, Michigan, that Resurrection Cuts was born. That was not only a day that benchmarked years of leading and being an entrepreneur, but it was also a day to remind me of the journey of where me and my wife has made it from, time to reflect on time in ministry, time to reflect as a father. And I'm going to tell you something. All I asked my wife for this year was one simple request. I said, I just don't want to have to be engaged. I want to be able to just be. And as a leader, I think we don't talk enough about being, right? We are born. Entrepreneurs, leaders are born in the heat of despair. We are born in a place where chaos has hit us all around. And usually when that great idea comes, when that brilliant story is developed, when you have figured out the problem, it is not in the midst of the chaos, but it's in the midst of everything being quiet. One of my favorite shows, guys, is this older show called Monk. One of my favorite episodes is an episode where he is trying to solve this case. For those that don't know Monk, he's a detective. He's an OCD detective. This man can see things that others cannot see. But one of the reasons he can see so much is because he is usually penny pinching and looking at things from different perspective than everyone else. On this particular episode, the trash men in San Diego have taken a break. They've went on strike, and all of the area is just messed up, right? He is not operating in optimal performance. The reason is because he is overstressed. He's overstimulated by everything that's around him. It's the smells, it's the sights, it's everything around him. And what happens that is so amazing, there is this room that exists where it's a white room. It's completely sanitized. There's nothing around, but there's also no sound. They put him in this room by the end of the episode, and it was like, aha, he had a light bulb moment. He solves a murder. And what I want to help you with today is what I'm experiencing right now. When you have an opportunity to get away from it all, you have an opportunity to see things from a different perspective. You have an opportunity to quiet the noise from the chaos. And being a leader, being an entrepreneur, being a father, being a husband, being just engrossed in life, right? You need these opportunities. So as we're talking today on this episode of Pulpit View, I want to talk about a thought that I don't think we discuss enough. And that is rest. The book, Take the Day Off by Robert Morris. Phenomenal book. I want you all to understand the necessity of taking time away. In the book, Take the Day Off, he calls it the Sabbath. This is the time that God has designated for us to be at rest. This time is not for God. It is for us. He designed it for us. In fact, Jesus says it this way. He says that the Sabbath was not made, man was not made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath was made for man. And God is still the God over the Sabbath. That means that he created the Sabbath. He is still to be worshiped on the Sabbath. But the Sabbath was designed with man intended. What do you mean? Here it is. We are so overworked. We are so driven. We are so purpose-filled that I think sometimes we don't take the time out to let God refresh us. This past Sunday, I started a sermon series on rest. And I discovered something out of Exodus chapter 31. Talks about not only did God rest, but he was refreshed. After learning and discovering some stuff, I found out that word refresh means to breathe in, to inhale, or to breathe freely. There are some times where you're so overworked and you're wondering, can you go any more? Can you push anything else out? And the truth of the matter is, all you need to do is be able to breathe freely again. You need to have an opportunity to not have your name being called. I'm talking about that time when you used to wake up in the morning and you were passionate. Maybe it was, you didn't need to wake up with an alarm clock. You remember waking up in the morning and you were driven for the day. And somewhere it seems like you lost that. Now it seems like people almost have to pull you out the pit. They got to prod you. Work seems like a tedious task every day. But you remember when you first started working the job, when you first opened the business, when you first started pastoring the church, when you first got married, everything seemed like it was a privilege to serve. And now you're at a point where you're like, I just don't feel like it no more. I don't have enough of it in me. And the truth of the matter is, you probably just need a break. You need to rest. You need to be restored. That's why David says these things such as, Lord, renew a right spirit within me. Because the truth of the matter is, there are these times where we just don't have a right spirit for leadership. We don't have the right spirit for service. And if you journey with me for a moment, just remember, take yourself back to that time where you used to get up in the morning and you were happy about the day. Monday did not seem so burdensome. Getting that call did not seem so tiring. Right now, I'm excited because here it is. The only reason I am even on tech today is to spend time with you all. Truth of the matter is, I'm not taking no calls. Nobody can call me about an appointment. If they are, they're going to get answered tomorrow. I'm taking time, designated time away. I'm not dealing with calls from the church unless it's about life or death. It's not because I don't love people, but I've understood I need to take that time for myself. And the truth of the matter is, many of us, we have lost that passion. We've lost that drive because we're burnt out. And I'm not talking about you're ready to quit your ministry burnt out. I'm just talking about you're tired. You're tired. You cannot seem to get the unction to want to do more. And the truth of the matter is, all of that starts with taking a break. It is amazing that in the society we're in now, right, we have all these gurus that are talking about work. Your passion should wake you up in the morning. And I love these gurus. Hear me. I love some of these gurus. I listen to them every day. I'm just like you. I listen to them on YouTube. Some of them, that's what I listen to on my way to work. But here's what few people tell you. That if you keep running a car without putting gas in it, you will run the tank dry. If you keep running without nourishing your body, you will run the tank dry. One of the most amazing things I am right now, y'all hold me to this, right? I am getting ready to start training for a Spartan run. right? One of the things that I'm learning as I'm watching marathon runners and just runners in general is a lot of times on these runs, they'll have these water stations. And this is so valuable. These water stations are not there just to be decoration. Those water stations are there because they understand that the runners have been exerting energy at a high rate. You've been training for a long while, but you're training so you can exert a high amount of energy in a short amount of time. So they put water stations there and people to encourage them there because they understand that running a race, running a marathon, running anything is going to exert extra energy. Here it is. You can get somewhere faster by running, but usually you get there more spent. And so they sit these water stations there. They're going to have someone there. And here's what it is. They don't expect you to stop running. What they do is they hand you off the water while you're running so you can refresh your body and get a second wind. Another thing I found out about runners, for big marathon runners, those that are running marathons, they hire people to be in the front of them, to be behind them, and then they'll be even hire people to be beside them. Here's the whole goal. The person in front of them helps them keep their pace until they get to the last leg. They know this is where I need to go. This is who I need to be behind. The person behind them is helping make sure that they don't slow down. And the people on the side of them are encouraging them to keep going. Here it is. You need all of it. You cannot give up, but you also need to know how to take the rest you need. You need to know how to take the rest you need. Some of us, the reason we can't prioritize our life, the reason we're having family issues, and I'm not giving you no self-help talk right now. I'm just telling you, the reason some of us are having family issues, because we haven't taken time. Everything else is getting priority, and then we will not take a break. And we're expecting our family to come along on the goal and to exert everything. And they never bought in to this. And because they did not buy into it, they're looking for a break. They're looking for time away, time to reconnect. And the truth of the matter is, that's necessary. One of the things that I learned in the process of dealing with this sermon is that out of the 10 commandments, this is one of the longest commandments that God gives. Because he doesn't just give the commandment, he gives you the way to implement it. He tells you how to manage it, how to prepare to take time off, why to take time off. He tells you that you have 6 days to get everything you need to get done. And then you take a Sabbath day of rest to restore you so you can give your best in those 6 days. But here's where many of us are failing. We are so spread thin because we're giving 110% every single day. And eventually it does not last. Can I tell you something? Every time I charge my phone, I don't care how long I charge my phone, I only get 100%. But I'm about to tell you something that the phone company doesn't want you to know. One of my homeboys told me this. They said, listen, Stephen, don't leave your phone on the charger all night. I said, why? He says, he said, it's simple. And I still mess up and do it. He said, it's simple. He said, once your battery is charged and you start overcharging it, you in essence starts draining the life of your battery. I said, what do you mean? He said, tomorrow morning, your battery is going to be still on full, but your battery is going to only have 80% capacity. And if you have an iPhone, you know that the longer you have an iPhone, you'll see that it shows you how much capacity your battery has in it. So there's some of us that we know when we first bought our Samsung, we first bought our iPhone, whichever team you're on, whichever way it is, you used to be able to charge your phone in the beginning of the day and you wouldn't have to charge it again at night. But at some point, You start having to charge it in the middle of the day. Then at some point, it seemed like it wouldn't even keep a charge. You put something on, it seemed like as soon as you put something on, as soon as you watch your favorite movie, it was drained. Can I tell you why? Because many of us are overcharging our phones. Can I tell you something else? Many of us are overcharging ourselves. We're pushing ourselves to the limit so consistently that we no longer have the capacity to go as far as we used to. I remember first coming to Bethlehem. No lie. For the first 4 years, if there was not another preacher preaching that Sunday, I did not sleep on Saturday nights. I'm not talking about I got a break or I took a nap. I'm talking about when I got off work on Friday at 9:00 at night, went to sleep, got up on Sunday morning, went back to work, got home. From that moment, I was up until after church. That was me. And if I did get a nap, it was on my way to church. I'm trying to tell you, I found myself spent, and I kept doing it over and over again. And what I would find out on Sunday morning, I was exerted. One night I tried to do that same thing. I tried to go all night. I had been going to sleep. I had been getting me at least some rest in the middle of the night. Tried to do that same thing. That next morning, I was so beat. I felt myself getting ready to fall over as I was getting ready to preach. Here's the reason why. Because I had overcharged myself. I've been doing it for so long that when I needed to tap into it, it wasn't there. And what I'm trying to tell you is the reason you take rest, the reason you take Sabbath is because of this. You're going to need that excess energy. But if you consistently expend it, consistently take it in, what's going to end up happening is you're going to overwork yourself. And then when you need it, it's not going to be there. You're going to get to a point you're not even going to know how to rest. Have you ever been at that place where you literally had the opportunity to take a break and you found yourself trying to figure out what work you needed to do? I'm telling you, even now, as I've learned to start taking my Sabbath, I've learned to start taking my breaks. I've learned to take time out. And Monday is my day. Monday is the day that I recharge because Saturday as a barber is a busy day. Sunday, I am preaching. That is not a day for me to recharge. That's the Lord's day. That's my day to give him something, to work for him consistently and precisely. But on Monday, that is my day that nobody gets me but God and my family. Here it is. But I find myself still trying to figure out, what do I need to do? Taking small appointments, saying, okay, I'll concede for this. And the truth of the matter is how then can we ask the Lord for more, and we don't even do what he tells us to do to get the energy back we need? I don't care if you are an entrepreneur at a Fortune 500, you have started your own company, you've built it to excel. I don't care if you have started investing. I don't care if you are pastoring a mega church or pastoring a small church with a mega impact. I don't care. You need to get the rest, especially if you have multiple facets of your life. And I tell you a secret, they've done a study. Not only are most pastors bivocational, they found that even full-time pastors are entrepreneurs on the side. So in essence, they're bivocational. They are starting stuff. They are building stuff. We're living in a world where we're expended to such a huge extent. And the truth of the matter is, we have to take the time if we're going to see the result. Here's my next goal in ministry, is to learn how to take a sabbatical, to learn to step away and let God speak to me so he can have all of the decision making, and I'm not drained out and falling back on words that I believe he said, and I have to go search to make sure he said it. I want to give him designated time. Designated time. Hear from the Lord. Hear what he has to say. I heard a preacher one day say, well, do you still believe the Lord speaks and the Lord hears? I said, yes. He said, why? How? I said, I don't believe he says nothing new that contradicts with his word. But why wouldn't he still speak to me if I take the time out? Bible says, if you seek after the Lord diligently, he will hear you. He says we have to be a believer. That's Old Testament. New Testament says we have to be a believer that those who seek after him will be rewarded. Well, the only thing I want is him to speak back. But he's told me I got to spend time. I got to designate time to be heard, for him to hear me and for me to hear him. And the truth of the matter is, y'all, we don't really want to take a break because we feel like the world's going to pass us by. We feel like if I take a break today, I'm going to miss out on an opportunity. But the truth of the matter is, it's about trusting God. And as we're on this podcast, we're looking at the view of leadership from different lenses. We're looking from behind the pulpit. We're seeing the people we're leading. We're seeing the things that are going on. We're seeing the areas of life that are in danger. We see what's going on in our society right now. One of the cautious tales that I must tell you is you cannot get so caught up with what's going on that you do not set necessary time for God to speak, because it shows that we don't trust him to take care of those areas. Many of us, we have, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a leader, if you're a pastor, if you are a community activist, if you're a father, here it is. I need to tell you something. All of us have been at a point where we did not know the answer to how it was going to be resolved, how it was going to be fixed. And we found ourselves in a place of required trust in God. We had no other choice. We couldn't make the decision on our own. We couldn't fix it. We couldn't settle it. We couldn't change it. No matter what we did, it may have been with your kids. They made it to the point that they're out the house and you're trying to get them to act right. But you're at the point that they don't want to listen. So you have to get to a place where you're talking to the Lord and you leave it in God's hand. And some of us have the testimony that I've seen God do it. It may be on your job that there was a situation that was out of your control and you had to spend time. I'm looking for a book now. It's about the only tech company owned by a black man. The young man, he found himself at a place where his partner had embezzled over $100,000 of the money at a young age of the company. And what ended up happening is he talks about how he went in one night crying on his floor and talking to God. And God spoke to him through a scripture and told him what he needed to do. And from then on out, he set his company up through biblical principles. And every meeting he leads with his belief in Christ. And here it is. God has blessed him to be the second richest black man in America. Here's what I'm telling you. There are times when you have to be put at a place where trusting God is the only chance you have. And here's the blessing. You find out he's trustworthy. I want to speak to you today about taking a break, getting a breath, getting an opportunity to restore yourself so you can be the best version you can for your family. Listen, I'm excited. I am so excited that there's somebody that's after hearing this, they're going to say, I got to take a break. Where I'm at, man, listen, this place is beautiful and it's right here inside of the city of Montgomery. And I'm like, man, how is it possible we can get away, have a breath, not do anything. All I did this morning, I'm going to tell y'all what I did this morning, and then we're getting ready to leave off. I got up this morning. I spent time with the Lord. I watched the movie. Felt like going to go get me some food. Walked to Waffle House. Sat down. I admired the people that were there sitting, listening to how people were talking about how their day was because they were close by me. It encouraged me. I could see differently because my voice was quieted to myself. I wasn't thinking about all the problems I had. Wasn't thinking about all the pain because I had not been on Facebook or Instagram. I wasn't seeing all of the foolishness that was going on out there. I had an opportunity to sit back and recollect. Now, and recollect, collect myself and to recollect. I was able to see some things from a different perspective. And I want you to take some time off, leader. Do not spend so much time focused on everyone else that you never refill yourself. It's a mandate. I'm not talking about, and unless you think it's just Old Testament. Jesus says the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. It was meant for you to heal. God did it. It was set in stone before it was ever written on stone tablets. We have to take that necessary time for our family, for our wives. When's the last time you took your wife out? Last year we had the opportunity to do such a blessing, and I'm hoping to do it this year again. We were able to bless multiple families, multiple husband and wives with a night out. And some of the messages I got was such a blessing. Men tell me I did not realize how long it had been since me and my wife spent time without the kids. And we were able to just talk. We were able to spend time together. One, he had the free date, so he was like, we get in the hotel while we out. And that, for him and for her, it was reconnecting. Taking time. Making sure that it's designated, not wasted, not being lazy, not saying, oh, I don't feel like doing nothing today, I'm just not going in. I'm talking about, hey, on my schedule, I'm not scheduling anything on Mondays. In fact, in the book, Take the Day Off, he talks to a friend and he says, man, can I set up a meeting with you? He said, sure. He said, what about Monday? He said, I'm busy Monday. He said, what about Tuesday? He said, I'm busy Tuesday. He said, what about Wednesday? He said, I got this going on Wednesday. He said, what about Thursday? He said, I got nothing scheduled Thursday. He said, okay, put me down on Thursday. He said, I can't do Thursday. He said, I thought you said, he said, well, what do you have on the schedule Thursday? He said, I have nothing scheduled. He said, so why can't I go on Thursday? He says, because I said I have nothing scheduled. I have scheduled to do nothing that day. And I need you to schedule to do nothing that day. It is not about spending your time in the Bible all day, which is great. It is not about being just around your family all day. That's great too. It's about getting the breath of fresh air. That may be the day that you say, hey, on this day, I'm going golfing. I'm going golfing. I'm going to spend this time and I'm going golfing. Here's the problem, though. Now, I'm going to help y'all out. You can't golf every day and you got a family. You can't golf every break and say, I need to refresh. But on every other day, I'm too busy to hang with y'all. You have to make sure it's priority. There are days that you tell them, this Sabbath, it's all y'all's. I'm spending time reconnecting with you all. We're all going to breathe together. Let's just go ahead and hit to the beach today. That's where we're going today. And we're just going to reconnect and take that time. And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to see a transformation happen. Because what's going to end up happening is life is not going to be as serious. It's going to be a little bit more bearable. your workload is going to seem a little easier. It's going to seem like you can handle things that you weren't able to handle before because you were able to breathe. That's my wife moving around in the background. The GOAT for this year. That girl did it. And I'm so grateful. Listen, I love y'all. I thank y'all for joining me. Like and subscribe the page. I'm going to see y'all next week. I'm excited about next week. I'm excited about our guests because the guests next week, we're getting into a deeper discussion about this. The necessity of taking a break and also how we can take a break. We talk about that next week. So I want you all to join me next week. I'm excited. I'm going to make sure we're still learning this YouTube platform, learning how to get things. We're trying to get better day in and day out. I want y'all to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us, listen, encourage us, and even tell us, message me. If you're seeing this on Facebook, message me and say, listen, I'd love to hear this topic discussed on the page. This is such an exciting thing, but I would like to hear this topic discussed because this is something I'm dealing with. And maybe here it is. You don't feel like you can discuss this topic with your church, your business, and you need somebody else that has had the conversation with their people. That's really where it starts. Not trying to be the innovator all the time, but sometimes it might all it takes is becoming the duplicator. Did you hear me? It's not always about being the innovator. If somebody's already done it, sometimes it's about being the duplicator. Listen, love y'all. Thank y'all for joining us today on this episode of The Pulpit View. I'm excited for the journey that you're on. I'm excited that you're going to get the rest that you need. I'm enjoying my day. And for the rest of the day, we're staying away from all of tech. I just want to say hey to y'all. Listen, like, subscribe, share. We thank you.